Hello and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Regan Gallo. Laura Papetti has the day off. An update for you on an apartment fire in Pullman. We have learned a suspect has been arrested. According to city officials, both Pullman Fire and Pullman Police responded to the corner of Northwest Larry and North Yates a little after 5:30 p.m. last night. Pullman Police say a resident of the complex may have intentionally caused an explosion in his unit. The suspect was identified as 40-year-old Elijah Reagan. Police say Reagan got into a pursuit with Washington State Patrol. He did eventually agree to pull over and was taken into custody. Police say no one was injured, but some residents were displaced and had to be relocated to a shelter at Pullman Parks and Recreation Center. And this week, the city of Spokane is launching a two-part program they say will strengthen help for the homeless. The program creates new procedures for street outreach, and it provides new day-use resource hub. The city says this is part of Mayor Lisa Brown's Home Starts Here initiative. The city describes 4 outreach teams, an effort between Spokane Police, code enforcement, and social workers with Catholic Charities will help provide services to those experiencing homelessness. The program also introduced a new 311 line that can be used if someone is in need of help with non-life-threatening situations.
Police see somebody, they'll be able to help dispatch this team out to get to those folks. We don't always need our police officers tied up in that response when potentially a social worker is the right person to respond.
The street outreach model will also find encampments and help relocate people to temporary or permanent housing. And a big announcement for soccer fans in Spokane. This morning, Spokane Velocity FC announced head coach Lee Wiedemann signed a 2-year contract extension with the club. That will keep Wiedemann here in Spokane for the 2027 season. Wiedemann led the team in its inaugural season to the USL League One championship in Omaha. This FC is making a playoffs run again. The team has clinched being in the playoffs. Right now, they're playing for the hopes of hosting a playoffs match here in Spokane. Lee is actually going to join us on KREM 2 News at 4 this Wednesday. That's October 8th. He's sitting down with our very own Mark Hanrahan to talk about his contract extension and the support the team needs now that they make a playoffs run. Be sure to tune in Wednesday again at 4 p.m. Well, it's cool and crisp this morning, but we're not done yet with the 70s. And Thomas Patrick, earlier you told me today that it's kind of like a low and then a high. So tell us, what should we expect as we start off our week?
Yeah, it's the difference between those numbers, which is going to be kind of our biggest impact on the region for this week. The cold lows, but the tall high temperatures because of a lot of that, the sunshine and the clear skies. Second week of October is usually a critical week when it comes to just how the fall season feels. It's usually the peak of our fall colors. We're getting there. There's some nice colors on the trees right now, but we're not quite there just yet. It's also usually the first time we get to 32 degrees in Spokane, at least on average for this week. It got cold last night, just 39 officially in Spokane, but it was 31 in Coeur d'Alene, down to 24 in Deer Park. Obviously, our northern areas have already gotten down to the 30s, plenty so far this month and even last month on occasion. But that sunshine, I can feel it beating on the back of my neck pretty strongly. So while it says 56 degrees, that's in the shade. If you're standing in the sun, it feels a whole lot warmer than that, and we have a lot more warmth to still come this week. In fact, we are tracking temperatures not only in the 70s, but a potentially record-breaking 80s for this week. Forget the fall feel. Summer might be back by the end of this week. So we're tracking this overarching weather pattern, show you which days will be our warmest overall.
Thank you so much, Thomas. Switching gears here, a former math teacher at a Seattle public school is accused of punching a student back in 2018. Now, 7 years later, the case is finally going to trial today. The student, Zach, was 13 at the time, and the suit claims the teacher confronted him about violating the school's backpack policy. Court documents say the teacher got in his face, causing Zach to push him away. The student claims the teacher punched him in the face twice, then pushed and shook him, banging his head on the table.
Well, if you put your hands on me, I'm gonna kill you. You put your hands on me, They may have to surgically remove my foot from your posterior.
The student was suspended for 15 days. The teacher got a 5-day suspension and a year later was transferred to another school within the district where he continued teaching until 2021. Well, it's now day 6 of the government shutdown, and the Senate, which took the weekend off, is coming back to Washington for votes late this afternoon. Some furloughed federal workers will miss out on their first paycheck this week. Majority Leader John Thune says lawmakers will take up the same dueling spending measures that failed multiple times last week. Democratic leaders fault Republicans for not negotiating as they push for extending health care tax credits. The White House and Republican leaders insist Democrats reopen the government first before tackling health care. If negotiations remain at a standstill, President Trump insists he's prepared to move forward with mass layoffs. And some breaking news out of Olympia. Last night, an intruder broke into the legislative building of the Capitol and damaged several facilities and historical artifacts. A suspect is in custody. Governor Bob Ferguson tweeting today that there was significant damage in the state reception room. And new overnight, a judge temporarily blocked President Trump's backup plan to send federal troops to Portland. This comes after a week of heated confrontations between protesters and federal agents. CBS's Jared Hill has the latest.
Another night of protests outside of an ICE facility in Portland, Oregon Sunday, and another blow to President Trump's efforts to curb the demonstrations. Late Sunday, a Trump-appointed judge temporarily blocked the administration from deploying any National Guard units to Oregon, saying, quote, "There is no showing that there is military help that is necessary." The day before, she blocked the White House from deploying Oregon's National Guard to Portland. Sunday, the president moved to send troops from California, then from Texas.
As the judge noted, we presented substantial evidence that the protests at the Portland ICE facility were neither significantly violent nor disruptive in the days and weeks leading up to the president's directive.
Portland's mayor and the state's governor, both Democrats, maintain the city is safe, while White House aide Stephen Miller on social media called protests at ICE facilities a violent armed resistance designed to incapacitate the essential operation.